welcome. I'm Ijoma Onyaso. Tonight, President Buhari meets with group campaigning for the rescue of the Chibok girls, said end of insurgency is in sight. EFCC arraigns former governors of Adamawa and Imo states, Murtala Nyako and Ikedio Hakim, over alleged fraud and money laundering. The Senate directs the CBN and the Nigeria Customs Service to recover 30 billion naira in waivers to rice importers. And Greek Prime Minister promises to submit credible reform proposals to creditors on Thursday, and that's to avoid bankruptcy.
And on business news tonight, business leaders under the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry seek review of forest restrictions by the CBN. While on sports news, the Nigeria Football Federation, the NFF, confirms talks with ex-international Sunday Olise over the vacant Super Eagles coaching job.
We begin with a renewed assurance by the President that his administration will do all it can in collaboration with the Lake Chad Basin Commission to effect the release of the Chibok girls and end terrorism in the country. President Muhammadu Buhari was speaking during a meeting with the Bring Back Our Girls members who took their campaign to the presidential villa today. The President described as unfortunate a situation where Nigeria is now rated alongside Afghanistan, Iraq and Syria following Boko Haram attacks. President Buhari congratulated the group led by a former Minister of Education, Mrs. Obi Ezekwesili, for their consistency in mounting pressure on the government for the rescue of the girls. Our State House correspondent, Chukwuma Onekwusi, reports.
For over 400 days since the abduction of the over 200 Chibok school girls, these men and women in red have sought for an opportunity to carry their protest to the seat of government, the presidential villa. And what they could not achieve in the past government, they've got with the Muhammadu Buhari administration, and they did not spare any moment.
It has been 450 long days and nights.
Speaker after speaker, they poured out their hearts on what they want the government to do, chief among which is the release of the Chibok girls.
There is no time left. We ask, Mr. President, for immediate rescue of our Chibok girls.
Protection of lives and property of its citizens is the primary role of the government, and here is how the president captured the handling of the abduction of the Chibok girls by the past government.
It's unfortunate that the security and federal government conflicting reports initially portrayed the government and its agencies in very bad light, both nationally and internationally, because the law enforcement agencies and the government, if you can separate the two, were conflicting each other within hours and sometimes within weeks. That's not very impressive.
The president appreciates the comprehensive packaging of the solutions to terror issues as packaged by the Bring Back Our Girls group. He told them what he is doing in collaboration with the Lake Chad Commission and the G7 group, promising that he will not fail to restore Nigeria's dignity.
When the terrorists announced their loyalty to ISIS, the world attention again was brought squarely to Nigeria. And now we are rated with Afghanistan, Iraq, and Syria. This is unfortunate. In Nigeria, I assure you, will do its best because we, as I said, are the battleground, and we will help our neighbors. It is paradoxical what the Nigerian military has achieved from Burma to Zaire to Liberia to Sierra Leone to Southern Sudan, that now Nigeria has to be helped by Niger, Chad, and the Cameroon. How the mighty has fallen. We will do our best to earn back the respectability of our country and its institutions. We are pleased that in the excesses of the terrorists, they have blown themselves. I think they have to change their names from Boko Haram to something else. Because, as I said so often, no religion advocates hurting the innocent. You can't go and kill innocent people and say Allahu Akbar. You either don't believe it or you don't know what you are saying. So it has got nothing to do with religion. They are just terrorists. And Nigeria will mobilize to deal with them. Thank you very much.
For those who will say that the Bring Back Our Girls group now has a sense of satisfaction reaching the president after all,
no, we don't have a sense of satisfaction. Our satisfaction is when our Chibok girls are brought back. Seeing the president, which was something that we had asked for during the previous administration, is a means to an end. Now the end is that, according to the promise that he has made, he would put everything into ensuring that in record time our Chibok girls are brought back. Then you can talk about satisfaction.
apart from the fact that the Chibok girls have been missing for over 400 days, there is looming famine now raging in the Chibok community. And the prayer from here is that the government should act fast to overcome this madness that is enveloping the land. And for the Bring Back Our Girls group, no one can intimidate them doing what they are doing. Chukuma Onwekuse, Channels Television News.
In the meantime, the president has offered a firm assurance that the days of the insurgent group Boko Haram are numbered. In a statement, President Muhammadu Buhari reaffirmed the ability of the security forces to contain the terrorists to attacks soft targets such as crowds and places of worship. According to the presidency, the military's intensified onslaught on insurgent strongholds has led to significant seizures of weapons and vehicles, blockage of their sources of arms and ammunition, and decimation of their fighters. The statement adds, President Buhari conveys sincere and heartfelt condolences to all Nigerians who lost relatives in the latest terrorist atrocities in Jos, Kano, and Zaria. The president is also asking Nigerians not to be unduly disheartened by what he describes as the seeming resurgence of terrorist attacks and atrocities in the country. He says his administration remains fully committed to eradicating Boko Haram and overcoming the challenges of insecurity, terrorism, and insurgency as quickly as possible. Now, the Nigerian army says it's arrested the masterminds of the terrorist attacks in Kaduna and Jos, Plateau State. According to the Director, Army Public Relations, Colonel Sani Usman, the arrest followed a security cordon and search. Now, the dragnet was established in the general areas, especially along Bauchi, Gombe, and the northeastern part of the country, by troops of 3 Division and Special Task Force, as well as the Department of State Services. He said that this culminated in the successful arrest of the mastermind of the terrorist acts and 2 of his accomplices at a checkpoint in Darinkowa, Gombe State, northeast Nigeria. Colonel Usman disclosed that the terrorists and his colleagues who hid in a trailer while trying to evade checks were fished out by troops of the Nigerian army. The army spokesman added that they are currently being processed for further action and would soon face prosecution. He urged Nigerians to be vigilant and security conscious and report any suspicious persons to the security agencies. Meanwhile, the Explosive Ordnance Department of the Nigerian Police Force has recovered undetonated explosive devices at one of the scenes of the twin bomb blast in Jos, the Plateau State capital. The devices were found among the debris when the police were combing the scene for possible clues that would assist in investigating the matter. The affected residents have continued to recount their losses in the meantime.
The dust is yet to settle on the twin bomb explosion that rocked the Tin City, Jos, north-central region of Nigeria. Residents are still counting their losses, with the city still in a mourning mood. The tragic incident claimed lives, injured several people, and property destroyed. These churches were not spared, as they were razed while others were damaged by thugs.
This church has been here over 80 years. Look at what they have done. That one before, this one now. The other one, look at it. You don't want us to worship again?
Hoodlums also took advantage of the moment to vandalize shops, looting goods worth millions of naira. Godwin Obara, a businessman, is also affected. He could not hold back his tears as he recounts his ordeal.
A friend of mine called me, tell me there is a bomb blast in Bauchi Road. So the next one again, they said that there is a bomb blast down my shop here, that people come and throw grenades and they were shooting. So after some about 30 minutes to 1 hour, they started telling me that they are trying to burgle my shop. But the people in the area tried for me, because they try all their possible best, but the people that you over 500. My problem now is like the woman that used to give me phone in Hong Kong. Even the phone that came on Saturday, there are some money we still balancing.
Perhaps the number of casualties would have been more than what was recorded if the improvised explosive devices concealed in the suicide vest of one of the suicide bombers had exploded as planned by the bombers.
Both of them could not trigger off what they were wearing, which is the first suicide bomb. One of them first triggered her own, but the other one could not. So this one was still on. Then that was when we were called in. The first thing we did was to recover it, disarm it, and evacuate it for further analysis.
The police commissioner Plateau State Command has, however, assured residents of adequate security and urges members of the public to go about their legitimate businesses. With security being beefed up around the state to forestall further incidents, members of the public owe it a duty to volunteer credible information and report to security agencies any suspicious movement or strange people in the community.
In part two, after the break, coroner inquest into the collapse of synagogue church building in Lagos gives its verdict. That's in a moment. Just stay with us.